So he's at it again. Frank Miller is just turning in just worse and worse and worse art over and over and over again. And it is abysmal. It just keeps on getting worse. This new cover of Deadpool and Wolverine, I saw this and I just saw the cover without the words on it. And I was like, oh, it showed up on my feed. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Someone's just doing some fan art, whatever, It's, it's not that great, but, it's better than what I could do. And then it comes to find out that Rob Liefeld tweeted it, and he was just like, oh, this is Frank Miller's thing. And then he went on to defend it, and I was like, wait, what? This is Frank Miller? I'm like, how is he? He just came out with that Sabretooth thing, and that was ugly by most people. Most people think it's ugly. And it was pretty bad, but this is far, far worse. Far, far worse. He just keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. And I know people just want to go like his age. It's his age. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm literally tired of hearing that. It is not his age. Now, if he has a medical condition or some kind of condition, sure, that could 100% be why. But if you look at like Jim Lee, Jim Lee drew this and he's 60 years old. Frank Miller is 67. So 7 years difference. And I know 7 years in your 60s is a lot different than, say, 7 years in your 30s. But Jim Lee is still on the top of his game. And then you can even look at, and then I get, okay, fine. 6 years or 7 years is a lot in your 60s. I'll look at Neil Adams. Now, Neil Adams, when he was still drawing when he was 80, he died at 80. And it was kind of looking rough. But at 67, this is him at 67, Neil Adams. This is his Joker cover. These are the sketches of Joker. Still pretty good. Very, very good. Much, much better than Frank Miller. By far. So I don't want to hear it's your age. His age isn't the reason why. Yeah, maybe you're not as good. 100% agree. Maybe it's harder to draw. Maybe he can only sit for 30 minutes before his back hurts or his knees hurt or his wrist hurts or whatever it is, his fingers hurt. And he can only spend X amount of time. I get that. I understand that. He might have some kind of arthritis. He might have something going on where a medical condition that is causing him that. But just to say it's simply age, I don't buy it. I honestly think he's trolling us. That's what I wholeheartedly believe. I believe he's trolling us. I believe he keeps on putting on worse and worse stuff and getting away with it. And then he's like, let's see how far I can take this. Let's see how far. Pretty soon, we're literally going to get a stick drawing. And that will be his new cover. Mark my words. We will get just the bare bones, like a stick drawing of something, and that will be a cover. And people are like, oh, you're not looking at the art part of it. It's so good. Like, you don't understand his style. It's evolving. It's this, blah, 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 blah. No, it's just awful. It is awful. I'm sorry. You can't turn in this type of work as Frank Miller. This, to me, this Deadpool and Wolverine, I keep looking at it. It's just like, I honestly feel, give me like, that's like just slightly, it's like a little bit better than I could draw. I'm not even joking. I'm a terrible artist. But if I sat there and I had to come up with a cover of my own, I could probably draw not as good. I'm not going to say I'm a good artist at all, but I could draw close. Like, these muscles don't even make any sense. None of this makes sense. Fingers are too far apart. Every finger is a different size. Like, it's not proportionate at all. Nothing really works. This looks like a preliminary drawing, where when someone quickly sketches out something, they kind of see the ebbs and flows of, is this how the cover I want to work? They just really quickly, and that's it. And then they'll go and they'll like really start sketching it out and actually making the real cover. This looks like a preliminary drawing. This looks like something, if you were at a convention and he had 5 minutes and you're like, can you draw me Deadpool and Wolverine? He's like, sure, here you go. That's what it looks like, maybe like 10 minutes. And I honestly think he doesn't spend any more than 15 minutes, 30 minutes on a cover like this. I mean, there's 2 characters in it, so it takes a little longer. But it's just bad. It's just objectively bad. I'm sorry, this is objectively bad. Maybe you out there like it. There's someone out there that does like it, but this it's bad. And he's just turning in crappy work. And I think it's because he's trolling us. I think he knows he can. And people will talk about how great it is. He will literally turn into a stick figure one day. And people will go on and tell him how it's like, this is the best cover he's ever done, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like when that person posted that banana and taped it to a wall, called it art. And then someone bought it for, I don't know, like $3 or $4 or $5 million. It's getting to that point. I'm sorry. The way I look at art is if your average person can do it or get close to it, sure, you can call it art, but I wouldn't say you're a good artist. It has to be something where, like, if I look at Jim Lee, even if I trained for 20 years, I could never be that good. Never. I couldn't be that good at all. So that to me is awesome. I look at that. Or someone maybe like Jock, the way, even though it's not traditionally perfect drawings and things like that, but the way he captured everything, the way it looks, it's like I couldn't capture that. I couldn't capture that, no matter how hard I try. That to me is art. This, I'm sorry, this is borderline. You're getting into amateur. This is amateur art. If he brought this into Marvel today, Marvel, DC, pick any publisher, Indian publisher, and he didn't have his name, Frank Miller, today, and he turned it in and it was like, hey, can I have a job? Every single publisher would say no. They would have said, I'm sorry, kid, you are not close enough. Come back in like 5 or 10 years when you get better. That he gets a different standard than every other artist out there. There's lots of artists that are amazing on like Instagram. I see them all the time and they can't even get a job. And yet Frank Miller can turn in this and people are ranting and raving about it. I get it. He has a name attached to it. But it's horrible. It's laughable is what it is. It's laughable. It's so bad. Now, obviously, if he has some kind of medical condition, he can't. But if he's doing this on purpose, I'm sorry. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. To me, I don't know. I'm a different type of person than probably he is. He's already rich. He doesn't even have to do this. So why even, like, if you're going to take the time to do a cover and you're going to put your name on it, I don't know, wouldn't you rather have like a little more pride in your work instead of just turning in this? Like, you're telling me that Frank Miller, if he sat down and he goes and asked him straight up, is this the best that you can do? I guarantee you he'd say no. I just kind of threw it together. They wanted a cover. All right, here you go. I'm like, what are you doing this for? Like, I don't understand. Like, you don't need the money. I mean, maybe he does. Maybe he spent all his money. I don't know what he did with his money. But I don't think he does because he needs the money. I think he's either lazy or he's trolling us. That's the only thing. It's the only thing. It's like, this literally looks like a convention drawing. And someone's like, I'm just going to make this into a cover. I don't know. It's horrible. It's awful. It's terrible. It just keeps on getting worse and worse. And I think because he's trolling us. That's the only explanation that I can think of in my mind. I can't keep on hearing it's his age. I can't. If he has some kind of medical condition, sure, right? Maybe that's what's going on. Obviously, he doesn't have to disclose that. But it's worse than a saber tooth. It's worse. It's just worse. It's just objectively worse. The lines are worse. The way everything works. Like, at least I look at the saber tooth and I'm like, I guess it's ugly, but I guess I can see like kind of like a style in there. But this, a lot. And there's a lot of people that defend it and like, oh, it's amazing. I love it. And blah. You know, it's the same type of people that will buy that banana for $3 million. It was literally just banana someone taped onto it. I don't know. All right, subjective. But anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I think this is getting borderline just unacceptable because unless this is the best he could actually do, like if you gave him 10 hours and like this is the best he could do, fine. That's fine. Whatever, you know, he's at that place and I don't want to tell him not to draw anymore, but if this is literally, he can only muster up, 30 minutes a month and that's all he could physically do, fine. But if not, then I don't know. He should not make these.